money, but it's because I was able to give our members that, like the one-on-one time that they needed.
Thank you. I have so many questions in my head now. I'm not sure where to start with all my questions. But first, I saw a common theme. Everyone has built a business based on being excluded or needing something more that they didn't see in a 9-to-5 typical space. So tell me your experience with that. Like, starting a business is truly hard, but just like, what were some of your pain points other than just, it started from you personally, but how did you now take that personal pain point and create a business out of it? Anyone can start. Naya, you want to take it, or want we talk somewhere else?
Yeah. So I mean, okay. So for me, it's a little bit like hard to answer that question because most of the pain points that I went through, I kind of knew they were going to happen. So like one of the things that I did that probably many other entrepreneurs do is like listen to podcasts and like other people's stories, and really get to see like the things the things that other folks are doing wrong. And so I kind of tried to learn from other people. And so there were certain challenges that I knew was going to come. And so I tried to brace myself. Of course, like there were some things that did happen that, I was not expecting. But I think what has been really great is having a really great camp of Black women, whether it's like the actual members that are part of Frau Wies, or whether it's just, folks that I've met over the years now. So it's one of those things where there are challenges, but they haven't even felt like challenges because I've had just really great background and like support.
Thank you. Yeah, so
I'm the next. Oh, sorry.
Perfect. No, you're good.
Okay. Yeah. So for me, I think it wasn't so much pain points as much as like anxiety points. I feel like there's just so many moments where, I'll send an email and I'm just like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Like, I hope they'll give me that money. I hope people will sign up. You launch a website and you're like, I hope someone sees it. Like, there's just so much just anticipation and just hoping. And I feel like every step of the way, you're like, is it like, am I crazy or is this going to work? Like, those are the two choices, right? It's either like, does anyone care? Like, that's the number one question I think at every sort of way. It's like, is it just me or does anyone give a damn on any level? And especially with Code Newbie, it was a bit easier because I wasn't trying to start a business. It kind of happened to me. So I didn't have as much anxiety over whether or not people wanted it. But when we launched new products, I did, right? So when we did the conference the first year, I was like, okay, we have this online community, but do they want to meet each other? We launched a new podcast and I was like, okay, you were fine with these interview-based shows, but now that we're like teaching you computer science, do you want to know computer science? So there's just all these moments with every launch, with every email, with every publication. You just don't know if that's the moment you realize that this isn't going to work. And so that anxiety is just always there. And every time you think you squash it on something else comes up. So you never quite get to get away from it. So that's been my experience.
That fear of failure, which keeps so many people from actually launching or even starting their own business. Absolutely. And we all know in life you're going to be rejected. Like, nothing is just, especially from being women of color, it's never easy. We see the shows around entrepreneurship, like, oh, that's great to get funded, just with ideas. Like, nope, we have to do way more than just an idea.
And actually, you nailed it, because for me, it's less failure and more rejection, because when you get rejected, you don't actually know if you failed. Right. Because if someone doesn't like your product, maybe they just didn't like the color blue you picked. You don't know. You know what I mean? But either way, like, you got rejected, but like, did you fail? Maybe if you just tweaked one thing, you'd be off and it'd be great. You just don't know. So I feel like for me, the thing that, could happen to me that I can almost control my failure, because I can always get up and try again. I can pivot. I can control that to some degree. But if I'm rejected, I'm rejected. Like, there's nothing I can do to, you can't like make someone love you. So I think that's the part that to me was just very terrifying.
Thank you. Yasmin?
Yeah, no, absolutely to all of that. I think two of the, to use your term, pain points that I experienced. One, I'll start off with the fact that, some of the dogma, right, in the tech space especially, is that you need to have a co-founder, right? And co-founder and having a co-founder, that whole I don't want to call it a myth, but that whole archetype, right, is very specific to very specific segments of the population, right? And for one, I think it's also specific to people who have the type of personality to cultivate the types of relationships where you're going to really have somebody like you're going to be tight enough to feel that they're worthy, and vice versa, of co-founder status. So one of the biggest pain points that I've had to figure out is what it means not to have a co-founder and what it means to actually do what you need to do, even though you don't have a co-founder. So for me, I do not have a co-founder. And I think that's partly personality, but also other reasons. But what I do have is I have a really tight circle of female founder friends, of women founder friends. And they're also Black. And it's very much, to use the term, a safe space where we can yuck it up. We can be very vulnerable. We can be very real. Okay. Even though what we say may not be pretty, we can be real, and we know that we have each other's backs. So in terms of addressing that pain point, if somebody tells you you need to have a co-founder, take it under advisement. And if you know that that's not you, keep it moving and find who your people are, and just make sure that you do have somebody to bounce off ideas with, bounce off, how it feels to be rejected, and things like that. The second thing also is really understanding that while you should be coachable, and that doesn't mean by some muckety muck advisor, right? That just means being open-minded enough to listen to people, right? To understand, as my grandfather said, you don't know what you don't know. So when somebody recognizes that in you, let them tell you a little bit of something. And so be coachable, but also have enough good sense to follow your gut, to follow your own intuition. And so when you see something, especially for all of the brilliant Black founders that I come across now with increasing frequency, if you feel that there's a gap in the market for something and you could fill it, don't let somebody else with no lived experience, professional background, et cetera, in the space tell you otherwise. Again, take it under advisement and keep it moving and keep on going. Obviously, do your customer discovery, whatever you need to do, but find your people, right? To stay grounded, be coachable, but also trust your gut, right? We've got however many years humans have been around, we've got gut instinct for a reason. Use it.
Thank you. You touched on something very important, Yasmin. Another theme is finding your tribe, especially when you're starting a business. Like, that is very important, whether or not you have a co-founder or not, just finding that community that you can actually, like I said, bounce around ideas off of and just have that dialogue so you won't lose focus. You may have to pivot, but you won't lose focus, because we know it's easy to be an employee. That's the easiest thing you'll do in your life, is being someone's employee, period, hands down. That's easy. But starting a business is the hardest thing you're going to do, next to having children. That's probably the first or second, depends on the person, how they see it. I wouldn't even say relationships. That's something else. But mainly a business and starting a family is one of the hardest things you're going to do in life.
Sure.
So not to get so off topic, because I can go there. So, see, I got myself off topic. Look, being live. Okay, sorry about that. Okay. So next question. How did you know starting a business was the right thing for you? I think we kind of touched on a little bit, but if you can go a little bit more in detail about your personal stories of why you started that business for you. And anyone, we can start with Saran.
Yeah, I can start. So the first time I was working at Microsoft when I kind of made the decision of do I want to invest in my career at Microsoft or do I want to really focus on being an entrepreneur? And obviously, I made the decision to be an entrepreneur. And I think for me, I just really loved this idea of building something that didn't exist and making it great. And I don't really feel like there are many opportunities to do that at a company. And even if you have that opportunity, you don't own the thing you built, right? Like you built it for the company, so it's not yours. And I kind of came to that decision a second time. And to be fair, I tried to be an employee; it just didn't work. So I did get a job. And I lasted 3 months, and I was like, I can't do this anymore. This is terrible. It was a really great job. I worked with wonderful people, very talented people, but I just realized that I just had that itch. I was like, I need to go and like build my own thing and just start from scratch, see how big I can get it. And if it doesn't work, I'll just build something else. I'm not no shortage of ideas in this world. And so I just really felt like I just really wanted to build something of my own and really just see how far I could get. And I just couldn't I couldn't fulfill that desire at a job, at least not one that I've heard of so far. So I just had to keep being an entrepreneur.
That's what's up. Knowing thyself. Naya, so you unmuted yourself, so you're next.
Yeah. So this I kind of mentioned in a previous question earlier. But for me, I really love this theme and this thought of like creating your own lifestyle. So like for me, I really love that, the fact that you can create your own business and you can be anywhere in the world and you can travel, is like something that's really cool to me and something that is really dear to my heart. Like what I really love about being able to like start my own business is like being able to like say who I actually work with. And I know like it might sound really crazy, but like even though I'm making a lot less than I was making in New York City, I definitely just feel a lot more happier now. And that's because, last year, like I was able to like go like live in like Germany, like on the countryside and like, live next to a farm. And I really, really love that. For me, I just find a lot more happiness in being around nature. I find a lot more happiness of like getting to know other cultures, other backgrounds. And I feel like it makes you, like just in general, a much better person. I feel like, like especially coming from the US, I think that we have this idea that, I mean, like now things have definitely changed, but I think like most Americans, we just have this thing that like we're the greatest country and like we're best at like everything. And then you go outside of the US and you see that, that it's not the case, and you see that like, yes, the US has things that they're great about and things that, are obviously not so great, but I mean, it's really the same everywhere. But what I really love it, especially being here in Europe, is that like folks, they have their job, they might have their businesses, but they still find time for family. They find time for friends, for like travel. And like for me, I really love being able to like, at like, a certain time, just clock out and just like say like, hey, like I'll be out for like, the next 2 days because I'm going to the mountains like with my friends. Like I love being able to just have that kind of say in my life. And just for me, I just felt a lot more happier, just being able to create my own path and just also like being able to, work with the right people, which has been really great. Also, like when you work at a company, like you can't control like who's part of your team, but when you have your own business, like you can choose like, okay, if this isn't working with this person, you can just, part ways and you don't have to work with them. And for me, like that's been huge in just creating this life of like happiness and being able to like travel.
Thank you. Yasmin?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I know when I tell people that, for one, I've known for a few years now that I do not excel. Okay, I'll use that term. I do not excel as a full-time employee for anyone or anything, just because, you know, I like being untethered, to use that term. I like having options. And, don't get me wrong, most of my friends, most of my family have full-time positions as employees. And that could be a wonderful thing if it's what you want and if it fits into the goals that you have in mind. But I've known for the last few years that I really enjoy building things, which has been a common theme. I like building things. I like testing things, experimenting. And there's only so much of that you can do as an employee, right? Especially if you're in oftentimes a larger company, because of bureaucratic reasons. It's very hard to push through that kind of bureaucratic inertia to really do some fun things. People who can do that are extremely lucky, and they're few and far between. But I also knew that if I could make it happen, I wanted to spend more time with my kids. It probably sounds like something right out of what Andy Griffith's show, right? That like my husband and I now mind you, okay, because of COVID, our two older daughters go to school for the school calls it half a day, but they're not going to put the wool over my eyes. Okay, we love them, but 2 hours in-person instruction is not half a day. Be that as it may, I really enjoy going with my husband to drop them off at school and then 2 hours later hustling to pick them back up. I can't do that as a full-time employee. I really couldn't even do that as a part-time employee. So for me, it's always been a combination of how can I really express myself and the mind that I have and the talents that I have and the people who are near me and their talents to build something great, and also meet my very real personal family needs and goals. And so if it's not hokey enough for you, I'm in the right, business for that. But yeah, I mean, some people know, and that's not to say that I was not a good full-time employee, because I was. I have the receipts to back it up, but I often think that employers know quite quickly which of their employees really belong there and which are best to take flight. And if you work for somebody who really has your best interests at heart and their own, then you let people professionally develop and advance, even if that means leaving you, and guaranteed you two, you three, however many people will come back and do wonderful things together. Because that's what I found with Architect, especially over the last 6 to 8 months.
That's true. Just in general, with the way things going now in COVID, things that we think we can do before, now we can do due to the fact that we've been forced to do it. And I think a lot of folks now are thinking entrepreneurial. Like, okay, this job was great. I'm able to keep a roof over my head, money in my pockets, my family fed, myself fed. However, I want to do something more. And now a lot of people are starting side businesses or side hustles and trying to get themselves ready so they can exit stage left. And I was one of those people, I was drinking the juice for years, did everything right. And then once I left the 9-to-5 job for the past 4 years now, I'm like, I can't do it. I try to get a part-time job. I'm like, exit, I can't do it. You start seeing all the cracks in the system and how it can be done better. You're like, you know what, you do this, you do that. And just like you said, having the freedom. One, you're location independent. You can take your job on the road with you, no matter if you're traveling around the world or you sitting from your living room to your backyard, or you going to the park. You can do whatever you want to do with your business, and it's your time. So going into that, how was it hiring? Like your companies, like hiring people, like now you're management. Now you're the person they're like, I don't want to do this 9-to-5. Now you're that person. So how does that feel? Been on the other side of it, where now you are management and you're trying to help your employees, your team develop so they one day can do what you did.
I can start with that one. This is a really good question. So I just hired 2 people. Yeah, can you hear me? Yeah, okay. So I just hired 2 people. I onboarded them this week. We just finished our first week together. And yeah, when I was hiring for the producer roles, I was looking for people who were really passionate about being producers. You know what I mean? Like that's what I was hiring for. I was hiring for people who they're a little bit on the greener side. They're definitely a little bit less experienced than frankly what I was going for, but they did a better job. They showed better, passion. They asked really good questions. They were really invested in the business. They did better I had them do a take-home assignment, and they did better than people who had like 15 years of experience. And so I really looked for people who were really passionate about being producers. And that's one thing I want to say is, for me, like having a full-time job, not even having a full-time job, because I mean, let's be honest, having a business is you working overtime all the time. But in terms of being an employee, that's not the life for me, but there's nothing wrong with being an employee. You know what I mean? Like being an employee is a really good deal. Like you have guaranteed health insurance. Even if you don't do like a great job, you still get paid. You know what I mean? Like if I don't do right by my users, they fire me. Like you have a lot more leeway when you have an employee or when you are an employee. So like, I don't want to like, knock that or say like, you're stupid if you're not an entrepreneur. I don't think entrepreneurship is for everyone. And so for people, I'm not looking for people who want to be me. I'm looking for people who want to be the best version of the thing I am hiring for. And ideally, especially just being so early, people who really want to be part of the strategy conversation. With my two producers, we had a lot of conversations this week on like, what's the 5-year plan? What's the 10-year plan? Do we want investors? Can we bootstrap? Like we had like really deep conversations, and they were into it and they had opinions, and we felt like really building this thing together. And I don't think they're invested in becoming entrepreneurs. They're invested in becoming part of a team that had really big goals and in being the best producers that they can be. So that's usually what I go for.
Thank you. Anyone else? If you have a team or even have employees, can speak to just that transition.
Yeah, no, definitely passion. I always think back to what my grandfather told me when I think I was like 5 years old, and we were trekking around Cape Canaveral at NASA and checking out the museum, which is that there are few things that will keep you going as well as intellectual curiosity. And so as my grandfather would say, Yasmin, don't tell me you're bored after you finished reading whatever book. Boredom is a state of mind, right? So I look for intellectual curiosity. I don't know if there are Wegmans supermarkets where you all are, but the Wegmans is all over the Western New York area. Wegmans is I think the #1 rated supermarket in terms of employee satisfaction, but I digress. So I mentioned Wegmans because Wegmans mantra, their whole way of thinking is you hire for character because you can always teach skills. So, good people is good people, whatever their disciplinary background is, right? If they're a physicist, we can work with you. If you are into the humanities, we can work with you too. Are you intellectually curious? Are you an honest person? Do you have a good work ethic? Do you see yourself doing something in service to humanity, right? What's your philosophy? So I look for people who are good people, who are honest, who have a good sense of humor, because Lord knows, especially this year, you're not going to survive without it. One of the great Southern sayings, you got to laugh sometimes to keep from crying. But yeah, more so than skill set or anything else, really curiosity. Do you want to know what you don't know? And do you want to know it? Do you want to learn? That's what I've looked for.
Thank you. Naya?
Yeah, so for me, it might be a little bit different here. So when I first started, actually both of my businesses, I was completely insane and started them both at the same time. And when I started the second business, which is an automation-based business, I had this like grand idea that like, I was gonna like go and try to like raise money, and then I was gonna try to like hire a team, and actually did have a team of 2 that were helping me build the product at the time. And probably about like halfway into like Q1 of like last year, I read the book, A Company of One by Paul Jarvis and Start Small, Stay Small by Rob Walling. And honestly, like both of these books kind of like changed my view of like what I actually wanted to build. So I didn't actually like both of these books made me realize that I didn't want to build a big business. Like I just wanted to build something that I could create my own path. And, I didn't want to have this like grand exit or like, I didn't, want to build this like, $1 billion unicorn. Like it was just something that both businesses I'm very passionate about. And I just wanted to grow to a place where I'm serving people in some sort of way, and being able to create my own lifestyle. But when I do outsource, whether it's like for a project, it's usually folks that I already know. So one of the things, and this goes back to like my experiences working at startups, I choose to only work with people that have a human first mindset. So that is something that is really important to me. So I don't care if it's an AI startup, if it's a startup for automation. I feel like the people that work behind these businesses, I feel like it's really important that they think of people first and human first, and everything they do in their life is to help others or to help better others. So those are folks I usually tend to work with. Just because, not only from the business side, but as a team, I feel like those folks are much better to work with. Like, I find that I don't work well with people who are like driven by money. And there's nothing wrong with being driven by money, like at all. But just for me, like there are some people who in their business, they put money over people. And I just cannot work with the team that they put money over people. So when I have hired out or I've outsourced, like that's something that I always look for. And those are things that are, to me are really important.
Thank you. Have me thinking as well. Definitely you want someone that is a passion too. Like they're invested as much as you're invested, even though it's not their business. Because they're going to always bring their best. And that's very important. I was talking to my stepson. He was like, I was talking about being an entrepreneur. And he was like, you don't want to work? No, I want to work. Just want to do something that brings me joy, whether or not I get paid for it. Like I feel pure joy in doing it. And I would love to get paid for it as well. But I actually love doing it. It's something I like doing. So with that, what is the hardest part of your journey so far?
Okay, I think I haven't gone first yet on the question, so I'll go first here. Oh man, there's so much. I'll try to keep this one positive. Like even more so with Frau Wies, what has been so difficult is that like one, companies assume that we're a nonprofit, and two, I'm always expected to do things for free, and that's been really challenging. Is that I actually work with other folks who are in my same vertical. And so a lot of the businesses don't know that we all speak with each other. So there have been plenty of times, and by the way, like the way that we make our money is through like ads, through sponsorships. Something that that we haven't done yet is we haven't like charged our members. That was one of the things that was really important to me. When I had wanted to join other women in tech communities, especially at a time when I didn't have the money, it was something that created a barrier for me. So it's something that we just chose not to do, well, at least for now. And so we make money through sponsorships and like ads. And so what was really difficult was one, from some companies, I would hear these like weird things where like they felt like that they shouldn't have to pay for a sponsorship or pay for an ad because they felt like this was like they kind of felt like it was charity work. Like they felt like because this is a Black-owned business and because the folks that we're catering to are Black women, that it should be more of like charity. And that was something that was like really hard. And like that's something that I didn't think would even happen. So that was something that was quite difficult. But one of the things that does happen as well is that like sometimes I'll like speak with a company and like we'll show them our packages, prices, etc. And they'll come back to me and it's like, oh, like this is like too much, or like, we don't have the budget. But they don't know that I know other folks who are in the same vertical, and they would go to other folks and they would pay them, even though our numbers are very similar, but because they catered to a more broader audience, they just felt like that was more of like value. So I even had folks come to me and say, well, like maybe if you let like white women into your community, or maybe if you open up to like also Black men, then maybe we'll, work with you. And it's like, well, that's not why we exist. Like we exist because this is who we are focusing on is Black women. And our goal is to help Black women stay in technical roles. So it, last year it felt very hard, like every week having to like explain to people like why it's important that our community support Black women. So that was something that was definitely really challenging. And what is also odd too is that like after the protests that have happened this year, we saw a lot of those same companies come back and and say sorry, and they didn't realize the things that Black women go through, and they didn't realize that there was a real challenge. And that was also kind of odd because it's like, well, I told you this like a whole year ago, and we went through this whole thing, and now all of a sudden, because you see video of or you see on like Twitter threads of, Black women actually saying this is what they're going through, or that they need, help getting into certain roles. Now, all of a sudden you have this like light. So that's been kind of hard, but it's also been hard to just like stay positive with these folks. But I've also learned like who not to work with, and, who we should not help folks get jobs at their companies. So.
I want to make a comment. I have got a 10-minute signal, but Yasmin, that was a real expression, and I understand. Like, really? Oh, yes. We can talk about this all day. Like, this could be a whole session on how real it is out here as a woman trying to get the same funding, if not more funding, for similar type of businesses or pain points. But just it's the gender is different. We can talk about that it can definitely be a session. So thank you, Naya, for sharing, because that's real. Yasmin, since you're unmuted, you want to take it?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think for me it's been, and I think this relates to, finding your tribe, right? Finding your people. There comes a point, I think, in most, if not all, entrepreneurs' journeys where they wonder, and they may get to this point multiple times a day, multiple days throughout a month, any given period of time, but you wonder, is this the moment that I bow out, right? Have the hits kept on coming to the point where you're like, you know what, damn, maybe I should just wrap it up. But as somebody who has a background in research, who actually did a lot of research in my former role at Rochester Institute of Technology Center for Urban Entrepreneurship, I forget the statistic now, but it's more than 55% of entrepreneurs, especially Black women entrepreneurs, bow out far too early than they should have, in terms of when you get outside eyes looking at things like your financials, looking at your business plan, whatever it is, that outside, an outside audit would say, no, if you had done X, Y, and Z with some support, you would have had this runway. And then once you hit that runway, you would have, likely had these milestones, and you could have taken off. You could have conquered the world. So, I think it's important to, again, trust your gut. But when you get to points where you feel like you are about to bow out, don't, before you speak to somebody else and get at least one or two other objective opinions, because there is too much investment on an individual and community level into you, into us, to bow out before you really need to. So I'd say that.
Thank you. Saran, you have a point you want to make?
Yeah. So I think for me, the question was, what's the hardest part, right? The most challenge, yes. Biggest challenge. I think for me, the biggest challenge is working with data that I don't always know how to interpret. because you get like data points, right? And it's kind of up to you to draw conclusions, to make the right analysis, that sort of thing. And I feel like what I struggle with is, someone will say, I like, for example, I was testing out the landing page and I had a couple people say to me, well, I don't like that the pricing is all the way at the bottom. I wanted to come sooner. So I took that and I could have said, okay, people have been saying this, let me just move the pricing. But I was like, I don't know if I trust you. Let's do an A/B test. So then I tested the price at the bottom and the price in the middle, and the price in the middle did terribly. And I was like, see, you didn't know what you wanted, And so figuring out like who do you listen to? Who can you ignore? What do you make of the data? There's just so many unknowns. And I think for me, the hardest part is just, I feel like I'm constantly swimming in just this world of ambiguity and just uncertainty, and feeling confident in the decisions that I make, given that I'm making it with not a lot of insight and not a lot of information, is probably the scariest thing. And feeling like, especially when you make a big decision that takes like 3 months to execute. And then you're like, okay, I'm about to invest 3 months. If I'm not right, I wasted 3 months worth of runway, of time, of effort, and of people's time, right? The people who supported you and championed you and all that. And now I have to take a major step back. So I think for me, especially when it comes to those big decisions, it's flying not completely blind. It's not that bad, but it is making decisions that feel like it's on shaky ground. Not confident decisions that I feel like are always data backed. That's the part that makes me the most uncomfortable.
Thank you. I know we are probably at or almost at 10 minutes, so I just want a takeaway. So just one thing you want to tell our audience out there in this business of being an entrepreneur, there's one piece of advice you want to give them. Naya, you look like you ready.
I can start this one. So what I would say is, I think that and I blame Shark Tank for this entirely. I think that there is a lot of like entrepreneurship glorification out there. And I think there's a lot of just like, everyone should be an entrepreneur. It's the American dream. I think there's almost like a lot of like pressure to do this, and almost like, if you're not doing this, and like, what are you doing? You're wasting your time. I don't agree with that. And I would say that if you are considering being an entrepreneur, do it for yourself. Don't do it because you feel like that's what you should be doing. Don't feel like that's the only way to find freedom. There's a lot of freedom in working only a 40-hour work week and getting your weekends to yourself. That is a lot of freedom. So like, this isn't the only way to do it right or do it big or to be successful. But if you do decide this is for you, don't rush into it. Like, do it as a side hustle first. Do it nights and weekends first. Save your money first, because you are able to make much clearer decisions, more strategic decisions, smarter decisions. You have more leverage, so you can negotiate properly. Like, you really put yourself in a position of power the more runway and the more resources you have. So don't feel like, oh, I have an idea, I need to quit tomorrow and go get an investment. Like, it doesn't need to be that fast. You can take it slowly, do it at your own schedule, at your own pace, and really make sure that you are doing it without making it as big of a financial risk as it could be. It doesn't need to be that risky. You can do it slowly and really take your time.
Thank you. There you go.
Yeah, so thank you. You actually mentioned 2 of the points I was thinking of. I was trying to think of like trying to get down everything to just one point. So what I would definitely say is really helpful is to choose something that you actually are passionate about, because there's gonna be times when money is low. There's gonna be really hard times, and there's gonna be times when like you wake up one Monday and you're like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, this is too much. Like, you just have these like ups and downs. Like, then you have times where like you doubt like, whether you should be doing this. And then sometimes you even get people in your ear that, are like, maybe they're doubting you, or maybe they're just not used to someone that they know being an entrepreneur. So they put their doubt and their fears on you. And so you are going to get that. And so I have to really say that, like, just do something that you actually really care about, because you're going to pour all of your heart into it. And, like, I think too, like, just don't get so caught up into the whole like entrepreneurship and whole of like, I'm a founder and like all that sounds really great, except for when things get really hard. So that's all I have to say is like choose something that like you actually are passionate about that you will stick through, and just don't get too caught up into like all of the names, and just focus on like building and just creating happiness for yourself.
Thank you. Jasmine.
Definitely. I would echo all of those sentiments. I would say, whether both sides of the same coin, don't, as it's already been said, don't go into entrepreneurship to make money, right? Obviously, you want to make some money, right? You've got to sustain, but create value, right? You create value, the money will come in triplicate, et cetera, exponentially. But whether you are planning on creating a business, that is a unicorn or not, when it comes to investors, the best advice that I've gotten is try to bootstrap as much as possible. Try to make as much money on your own terms without outside dollars as possible, because you want to have the leverage to be able to turn people away. Especially given the challenges that we face as Black women. I do not want to see any of us, lose out on all or the majority of their energy, their personal investment, blood, sweat, tears, all that good stuff to somebody who was able to take it away just because they had majority stake, right? So be very picky with who you let invest into your business and really in your life. And, keep it moving come hell or pandemic, I guess, in the case of this year.
That is a great way to close out. Thank you, founders, for spilling all the tea and giving it to us real. And I hope we can get together again and do another segment. And where it's all about the real of the business, especially now in this pandemic. Again, thank you all. Y'all enjoy.
Thank you so much.
And I know Q&A is going to be a section, something like that next. So thank you so much. And talk to you all soon.
Yes. Take care.
Hey everyone, my name is Danny Thompson. I am so happy to be here today with Tech by Choice, and the topic of my speech today is going to be conveying your message to build your audience, but to do it effectively. And this is something that I like to talk about a lot because I feel like so many people have these amazing ideas and they're trying to show all this talent and these new inventions, and they're trying to build their platforms and they're trying to build their businesses, but they really don't know how to get and convey their message across to the people that need to hear it the most. And that is something that I've kind of figured out, and I try to work with people on, and especially companies. So I'm really glad that I'm able to do this here with everyone here, because I really want to give you the tools that you need to effectively grow your audience to where you want it to be. And I think one of the most important lessons that you need to take away from this is some of the greatest things that you ever learn, some of the greatest things that you'll ever experience in life will be absolutely due to failure. Stop being afraid of failing. You're going to learn so much through trial and error. Be open to that experience. So many people will tiptoe, and if they're losing their balance, they're still trying to catch it, and they're delaying the inevitable of that fall. Fall willingly, and when you fall, you're going to take something back from that experience. That is what is key, and especially growing your audience, because I can tell you, you're in a world full of 7 billion people. You need to experiment and figure out what resonates with people, what doesn't, what is a great idea, what is a terrible idea. Some of the greatest companies in the world have had flawless execution on terrible ideas. For example, Walmart. Walmart came out with their own social media platform that did miserable in the market space. They executed it in the best way possible, and it failed miserably. So understand, just because you do everything right, it could still go wrong. Figure it out and tweak, and what I always say is fail fast, fail forward, and learn. If you don't learn, then you're bound to fail and fail again in the exact same fashion. So don't be afraid of failing in that respect. So rule number 1 that I always have is complete your thought. Complete it. And I don't care if it's a tweet, if it's a LinkedIn post, whether it's an ad, whatever it may be, complete the thought. A lot of people push out a tweet or a post, and it's not completing an idea. And what happens with that is the reader, the viewer, when they witness this, when they see this, they're not getting what I call like a dopamine rush. When they see something go to fruition from beginning to end, they get that satisfaction of the result. They get that kind of enjoyment out of it. When you're leaving them hanging, or you're not completing your thought, or you're trying to continue that thought in another area, they're not as interested in this thing the way that you are, or the way that you think it's going to come across in a positive way. Complete that thought. A full thought is worth more than half of a great idea. Put out that entire thought. Remember something, and this is rule number 2 for building your audience and conveying your message effectively. Engagement produces engagement. If you are engaging with your audience, no matter how small, that engagement is going to produce more engagement. That engagement will produce more loyalty to your brand. That engagement will now get them hooked on whatever you are about. And here's the greatest thing. I need you to be the most authentic version of yourself in whatever capacity that is, but do it in an engaging way. Always be authentic, because it's so hard trying to keep up a facade of something that you're not. So if you're engaging, if you're keeping that thought there, if you're presenting an idea that is actually true to you, it's not a lot of work to keep that up. Like, for example, for me, I'm all about helping people grow within their fields, within tech. That's just who I am as a person. It doesn't really require work from me. I can do this all day long. But now if I were to try to become, let's say, a football fan when I'm not really into football, it's going to be a lot of work for me to look up stats and learn what people are into, what teams people like, what teams people hate. It's a lot of work that is not genuine and coming from a really great place that I have. So be the most authentic version of yourself, and it's going to resonate with others, and your growth will come there. And here's one more thing, which is rule number 3. Rule number 3 is this doesn't happen overnight. Overnight successes are huge things. Like, people get impressed by them because it's so uncommon. Your growth is going to be a lot of slow progression. Your goal should always be consistent, small wins. You need those small wins, but you need them consistently. Stop looking for how can I grow overnight, or how can I get to XYZ location in no time. It's not going to happen that quickly. Small progression, inch by inch, and eventually you're going to reach your first mile. Inch by inch, you're going to reach your second mile. And then soon you're going to complete a marathon just by looking back, and you can't believe how much distance you've actually covered. For me, for example, my growth started with Twitter in March. I started really tweeting out in March. In March, I had 300 followers. Now I'm getting close on 50,000, and it's been growing great. And I don't really care about the follower count. It means nothing to me. What matters to me is the engagement in my community that we've built. We've built this supportive community that is supporting others on their journey, that is supporting others in their path to success, whatever that may be. And we're all about the positive vibes. That matters to me. I don't care if I have 1 million followers. I can tell you right now, there's profiles out there with 1 million, 2 million, 5 million followers. And I would never trade what I have for what they have, because I've got a loyal base that wants to help each other grow, as opposed to some random people that are just not really loyal to whatever we're trying to accomplish and do. They're just there. I would rather have that engagement, because that engagement produces engagement. It creates that ripple. If you create enough ripples, it's going to create a wave, and that wave of change is what I want. Make sure you know what you want, because if you know what it is, it's easier to go after it. So make sure you create a vision and keep that vision very concise to what you're after, and make sure you go after it exactly the way you want. No compromises. This is a situation where if you want sugar, don't take in Splenda. Keep it very pinpointed and secure and focused to what you want, and you will achieve that. Rule number 4. If you provoke a thought, you will never leave a mind. If you provoke a thought, you will never leave a mind. The point of what I'm trying to really convey here is, if you make someone think about something, if you make someone think about like, oh, what am I doing? What is this doing? Now they're thinking about it. They don't forget about it. They let the idea percolate. Now you're ingrained in whatever it is that they're doing. So whatever it is, whatever industry it is, whether it's tech, whether it's being a programmer, whether it's learning, whether it's makeup, whether it's clothing, whether it's sales, whatever it is, provoke a thought. Let somebody think about what you're talking about. What are you talking about that is so interesting to you? What can you tell them to make them think about that? What can you tell them that says, hey, you know what? That's a great idea. What can you convey? Here's another thing. Don't let someone's expectations of you decide what you must do in life. Sometimes we have to disappoint others to actually reach what we want. Don't let their expectations of you dictate who you are. Don't allow someone to say, you know what, I think you're a tech person, that's all you should talk about. If there's something pertinent that you want to talk about that's relative and related to whatever you're about, talk about it. It's okay to disappoint somebody every once in a while. Make sure that you are riding whatever path that you need to ride to success. And whatever path you decide on, stay loyal to that. Simple as that. It's okay if people are mad. There's 7 billion people on this planet. Not everyone's going to like you. There's just no way around it. Look at the Pope. The Pope is, one of the highest religious figures in his area, and there are people that don't like him. If the Pope can't get away with it, you definitely can't get away with it. So, and I know I can't get away with it. So there's people that are going to love you. There are people that are going to like you, and there's people that's not, and that's okay. You can't make everyone happy. So don't focus on the ones that you can't please. Focus on the ones that you can build meaningful relationships with, meaningful connections with, and people that you can honestly have a genuine conversation with, and ideas that can resonate. Focus on those relationships, and that will be the growth that you're trying to find. And that's going to be the perfect way you convey a message, because if people are already gravitating to you for something, you're already speaking what you need to be speaking at that time. Next rule. Your preparation will dictate your destination. Meaning, you need to act like you are already where you want to be. If you act, let's say you have 1,000 followers right now. If you act like someone that has 1,000 followers, thinking you're small, thinking you're inconsequential, thinking that you're not doing anything worthwhile, you're going to remain in that position. What's funny is when I tweet the same stuff now that I tweeted, when I had 300 followers. And what's funny is when I had 300, people were like, man, what are you talking about? Like some big shot. What are you talking about? Like you're already, giving advice to people and things like that. And then when I hit 5,000 followers, they're like, oh, this guy's kind of onto something. And now they're like, oh, your message is profound. It's the same message that I had before. I'm talking about the same things. I'm doing the exact same thing that I did before that I'm doing now. But because I have the people behind it, now they're saying, oh, he's profound. It's not that I'm profound. This is just who I am. My preparation was already showing where I'm going to be. My preparation now is showing that I'm going to be at the 100,000, 200,000, 300,000. I don't care about the follower count. It's just where I'm going. And the count only represents one thing. And that thing is the amount of people I'm trying to help. So for me, my goal is already solidified to exactly where I'm going to be. And I enjoy the fact that people are joining me for the ride. So that way we can continue to help as many people as we are. I don't just want to help people in my area. I'm from Memphis, Tennessee. I don't just want to help people in Memphis. I love Memphis. I have a lot of focus in Memphis, but now I have the luxury to help people in Asia, in Europe. I'm helping people in Lagos, Nigeria. I have some of the most incredible people that are in the world that I've spoken to are in Lagos, Nigeria, and they have so much passion. Why should I isolate my help in this area alone and not think about them? Why shouldn't I think about the people in this area that are going to be providing the future of tech? So I love that I'm able to do that. I love the passion that has come from this action in this community and in such a short period of time. And I know we're going to do some amazing things with that. But my preparation is showing my destination. Make yours do the same. Next rule. Supporting another person's success will never ruin yours. What does that mean? Just because you have your own level of success doesn't mean you can't support somebody else. Do you know how many successful people? I love celebrating someone's success. I want to celebrate your success. And I don't care what it is. Did you just get a new job? Did you hit a new milestone? I'll buy a cake and live stream me cutting it for you if that means we could celebrate your success together. I will never feel daunted by someone else succeeding. There is enough space on this platform for everyone to succeed. I want everyone to succeed. There's enough space in this marketplace for everyone to reach the riches that they want to reach. There is enough space in the world for everyone to thrive. Why shouldn't we lift up everyone together? If we all rise together, we're going to perpetuate the exact things that we want onto everyone else. If you celebrate that person's success, you will also benefit by being in their presence. You'll get the ideas that they have. They may be able to teach you something. Be humble, be happy, and be open to that experience. Celebrate it. Next rule. If you try something that doesn't work, that's okay. It's okay. Fail fast, fail forward, and learn. I've fallen so many times. I've fallen so many times that my knees have calluses. I've fallen from hardship. I've fallen from praying. I've fallen because the burden's too heavy. I've fallen and fallen. It's okay. Look up, get up, and don't you dare give up. You keep going after it because I guarantee you that steady momentum is going to take you exactly where you want to be. There's no other way around it. It's going to take you there. If you're consistently putting out the content that you need to put out, if you're consistently putting out the tweets, the posts, the Facebook posts, the Instagram posts, if you consistently put it out, it's going to get noticed. Remember, there's 7 billion people on this planet. You could be the most talented person in the world. If you're not showing that to the world, they have no way of knowing that you possess it. So share it, network, message, talk, post. It doesn't matter if for 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, only one person notices it. Eventually, it's going to turn into 2. Eventually, that's going to turn into 4. It's going to keep multiplying. So put that weight behind it. Put that effort. What kind of effort do you see people doing when they give up after a 90-day test of putting stuff out? 90 days is not long enough. 90 days is not long enough to bear the fruits from whatever you're trying to put out. Don't quit because you're bad at something. Keep going because you're bad at it. So if you're not getting any traction in your post, tweak it, maneuver, pivot. Keep going after it until you actually get better at it. If you want to quit when you're actually good at it, because then you could say, I've done what I wanted, but this isn't for me. Don't quit when you're bad, quit when you're good. You're already in a situation where you're depending upon yourself to try and produce something and you're failing at it. So keep failing until you realize, oh, this is the step I need to make not to fail anymore. It's okay, just keep going. Next rule is greatness is as common as blinking. You're great. I know you're great. You know you're great. Now it's time to show the world how great you really are. We know you're great. You now have this audacious task to convey your message, to convey your idea, and to convey whatever passion it is that you have about whatever it may be in a tweet, in a post, in an Instagram video, whatever. You need to do that. Now you got to figure this out. We need to convince the world that you're as great as we know you are. I know you're great. You're incredible. You're doing all the right things. You just don't know how to really position yourself. But don't just say, well, I'm not doing it right. Tweak. I don't care if you send out 10 posts in the same 5 minutes, all in a different variation of each other, and then see which one works. Then stick with that. Look at those analytics. There's so many analytics out there. Look at what resonates with your audience. Then tweak your message accordingly. And here's another thing. Don't worry about chasing money. Money comes and goes like the wind. You know, it always goes. Even millionaires all over the world have had money slip through their fingers. It happens. Worry about increasing your skills. Your abilities are your ATM. They will provide for you. They will make room for you. Work on that. Don't go chasing a dollar when your ability is going to bring it to you. Focus on your abilities. Focus on your message. What are you trying to get across? Is your goal to talk about software and tech? Then talk about that. Make sure you're, rule number one, completing your thoughts and completing your ideas, and give them in a tweet. You have 200 some odd characters to get this entire message across. Are you doing this in an effective way? Whatever thought it is, let's say that idea is too big to break into three. Break down your idea further. You should know enough about your idea to be an authority on it. You should know enough about your idea to basically convey it to a fifth grader. If you can speak about something and basically break it down to the simplest terms to explain it to a child, you are now knowledgeable on that subject. Work to get to that level so then it becomes easier to convey your messages in easy, digestible ways. And now the craziest thing about that is you're now opening your audience up to not just highly technical, highly leveled individuals, but you're allowing beginners and intermediates to step in and join and be part of the process. So it doesn't have to always be this very difficult, very high level thing. It could be something small. It could be something that is actually open to others being a part of. And that's where you're going to start getting your mass approval, your mass groups and things like that. Invest in yourself until people invest in you. But remember, you're your most important asset. So invest accordingly. You don't need to chase after people to come after you. You are valuable. Haven't you noticed one of the biggest rules in life is if you chase after something, you're not as attractive as if you say no. You don't need to be open to everything. You don't need to be open to everyone. You don't need to be everywhere and nowhere. You are valuable when you attract it to you. So you need to create that pipeline. You need to create these networks. You need to make sure you're putting out the right stuff to start getting people to come to you as opposed to you chasing every single person around. Because you're going to get tired. It's ineffective to go to everybody. It'd be more effective, actually, if they came to you. So make that effectiveness turn around. So make sure you're putting yourself in a position where they have to come seek you out as opposed to you seeking them out. Be an authority on your subject. Be an authority on whatever it is that you're talking about. And I guarantee you're going to have people high and low come after you. You're going to have people that come wanting to know what it is that you know about. Positive impact creates more positive impact. If whatever it is that you're talking about can convey a positive idea in a great light, that is now something that people will gravitate towards. I like to always say I try to keep the positive side of the internet on my page. I think there's enough negativity out there that we need to have a little bit of positivity to balance it out and to give people a peace of mind. Find whatever niche it is that you want to be about. Make sure you're putting whatever spin it is that you have, put it on there, but show that positivity. Show how great this one concept or this one idea can be in your industry. It doesn't have to be tech. I know this is tech by choice, but people in tech are into many things. Do you have a podcast? Do you have a course that you do? Do you have YouTube videos? Whatever it is, show and provide value, and I guarantee you they're going to gravitate towards you. Now, I will say this, and I don't say this lightly. It is hard to maintain and come up with ideas constantly to try and provoke thoughts. It is hard to try and come up with things that will make people question what it is the norm is for them. Inspire yourself, and you can be an inspiration for others. So try and find ideas. Get curious about things. I don't read a lot of books, but I have a lot of books that I can look into and get inspiration from them. I have a lot of resources online that I'll look into. Like, even I'll look into the docs of a language. I'm like, oh, this is so interesting. Let's look deeper. Let's research this. And now I'm inspired by what I just came across. When I get to share that idea, I'm inspiring others with the same message. For example, React. React is something new that I'm learning. I come from a Java background. And so now I'm learning React. And the other day when I was learning hooks, I shared something and everyone started getting into it and talking about different styles of hooks that they write and different ways to apply something into their programs. And it sparked this amazing conversation around React hooks. It doesn't matter what it is that you're into. If you're passionate, if you believe what you believe, if you believe that you know what you're talking about, and you share that with the world, they're going to chime in. And that brings me to another point. I love the idea that every single day of the week, someone is learning programming for the very first time. Right now, you know something that they don't know. Whatever level you may be at, you know something now that they don't know. Share that knowledge with the world. Make a blog post, make a Twitter post, make a video about it, whatever it may be. The reason why I say that is, number one, when you educate others, you're learning it twice. But the other thing with that is you're going to research so much about your topic just because you don't want the trolls to be trolls. Trolls are trolls, and if you give them an inch, they're going to find a way to squeeze in and come in and basically tear apart your entire presentation. So now that you're researching every angle and every little avenue where you can be wrong, you're going to learn so much about whatever subject that is. You won't really understand it until you actually do it. And the first time you put out a bad post, all the trolls come out the woodwork saying, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. You're terrible. You're terrible. Even though you have tons of experience in your field and you made one grammatical error or you made one error about one subject, about one thing. Remember, someone somewhere doesn't know something and you do. Share it with them. If you're helping one person, that's a huge win. You don't need to be worried about helping millions of people at a time. Helping one person? Here, I love helping people. That's just me. If I can, and this is my God's honest belief about this, if I help someone get to where they're going, can you imagine all the people that they're going to bring along with them to that destination? Because people don't travel alone. People are going to bring whoever is around them with them. That's why I love teaching people how to code. That's why I love giving people resources, giving them courses, whatever it may be, to help them get to that next level, because they're going to share it with others. My rule, I don't monetize anything that I'm doing, right? I'm not in this for the money. I'm no longer concerned with dying as a rich man on my deathbed. What I am concerned about is the impact that I help instill and leave behind. I want to help as many people as I physically and possibly can, because I want to leave the world that I came into in just a little bit better shape than the way I walked into it. And I think we all have that ability and possibility. And I think it's almost our responsibility to do it. You know, even if it's our local community, whether it's our neighbors, whether it's people in our area, whether it's outside of our area, we have the potential to create an impact that will basically outlive us and outlast us. Why not do that? So be an authority on whatever subject that is, research it, teach it, and I guarantee you, you're going to learn a lot about it, but you're going to attract a lot of minds to that. Remember, greatness is as common as blinking. You have greatness in you. I know you have greatness in you. We have this crazy thought process where we think like greatness is allocated and basically designated only for like the celebrities, the rock stars, you know, the Instagram influencers of the world, whatever it may be. It's as common as blinking. I promise you, you have greatness in you. Haven't you ever been in a position or a point in your life where you were like, oh, I achieved something that I didn't think I could do it. Like you in the beginning, you're like, oh, there's no way that I'm gonna do that. There's no way, it's not possible. And then you found yourself one day like, man, you know what? I really, really did this. One of the things for me personally, I love it when someone says, oh, you can't do that. That's not gonna happen. It's not gonna work. And then I love to go back to them in 6 months when I do it. You know, when I was learning how to code, I was working in a gas station. And I went to my coworkers and I said, oh, you know, I'm learning how to code. And they were like, oh, it's not for people like us. Yeah, what are you doing? That's for the smart people. That's for people, you know, the brainiacs of the world. That's not for the average individual. Don't do that. You're wasting your time. And you know what? You're right. It wasn't for us, but it was for me. And I stayed that path. I stayed that course. And I'm so glad that I did because I completely changed my life. If you keep that vision of whatever it is that you see and you're conveying that with your audience, I guarantee you, number one, you don't know whose life you could potentially change. Because for me, to learn how to code, it literally started from an interview with a rapper. The craziest place that you would ever imagine to get inspiration, right? But that is why I try to be so vocal about what I do. I don't know who needs to hear it. That one person that hears it will now start coding and change their life. Or even if it's not tech related, they'll start doing whatever it is that they have a passion for and they'll reach that level. That's my message. What is your message? One big thing that I tell people to do all the time, and I challenge you to do this. After we're done with this talk, go in your room, turn off your lights. Sit in your bed, all electronics away. 30 minutes, give yourself. Don't think about anything. Then your mind will probably wander. Ask yourself the questions that you don't want to answer. What are you about? What are you actually looking for? What are you trying to accomplish? Like, ask yourself all the questions you don't want to answer. Ask yourself the questions that you've been skipping. Find more about you. You know you, but at the same time, you really don't. I think our life truly changes the day we figure out what we really want. Until then, we're kind of just going with the flow, skipping the tides, and we don't really necessarily know what drives us. But I feel like once you pinpoint that out, everything changes after that. Make your goals big. My goals, I have huge goals. Make your goals so big that when you actually think about it, you get excited. Don't make them small, like, oh, I want to hit, 20,000 followers on Twitter. I want to hit 20,000 followers on Facebook. That's so small. I truly believe you can hit that without really working terribly hard, as long as you make a couple tweaks. Make it big. The follower count means nothing. Are you affecting lives? Are you changing the perception of people? Are you getting your message across in a vital and valuable way? If you bring value, if you come in with a value mindset, if you walk into these conversations with people and you say, I'm bringing value to this conversation. I'm bringing value to this team, to this environment, to this message, to this post, to this idea, they will bring a checkbook. It's as simple as that. If you bring value, they will bring a checkbook. And I don't care what it is that you're sharing. I don't care what business you have. You need to provide value. You need to solve a problem. And don't create a problem to solve. You need to be solving a problem that people already go through. And if you do that effectively, you will absolutely bring home the bacon, so to speak. You will absolutely create enough positive change that people want to invest in you. People want to believe in you. People want to follow you. People want to resonate with your message. People will start writing down some of the things that you say and creating quotes out of them. That is when you become an effective tool in the toolbox. And you will never be the end all be all. Even the most successful people in the world have competition, even though no one follows that one person by itself. People follow hundreds upon hundreds of people. You need to not be the only thing, but an accompaniment. Like a hamburger by itself doesn't stand out. You have the cheese on it, you have the lettuce, you have the tomato. You need to be able to work well in the company of others. For me, for my niche, I feel like I accompany other accounts very, very well. And so now when people follow me, they're following several other accounts, but I'm in their rotation. I'm in their daily rotation. People message me all the time where I start my day checking out your profile. That is when you know at that point that you are effective, that you are valuable, and that you're bringing the heat to the conversation. You're bringing the heat to everything that you're trying to portray and give. Another thing, invest in yourself. And I've said this before and I'll say it again. Invest in yourself because you're going to be the thing that brings people what they need. So invest in yourself, whether that's educating yourself more, invest in yourself, whether that's providing more resources to yourself to be more effective to others. Make sure you're investing in yourself in a very effective way. And also give yourself time to discover what other people are talking about on a similar subject. Get inspiration from them. Learn something new from them. I have no problem in being the dumbest person in the room. Most of the time I am one of the dumbest people in the room, and I'm completely comfortable with that because what I lack in sheer intellect, and I love surrounding myself with really smart people. So what I lack in sheer intellect, I make up for with really good looks. Because I mean, come on, who are we kidding here, right? But also what I make up with is my ability and my willingness to soak up whatever they're giving me with a sponge. I will soak it up. I will investigate. I will research. I will remember. And I will then go further to make sure I'm learning what I need to know about my subject. Because how else will I convey my message? I want to give my message to the masses. I want to put out 10 messages a day, 5 messages a day. I want to put out my message before anyone else puts out their message. I want to give my people that follow me my message first in the day before they have the potential to hear it from somebody else. But I want it to be meaningful. I want it to separate itself from the pack, and I want it to convey a full thought. I want that full thought from A to B to be conveyed. I don't want to go halfway. I don't want to leave them unsatisfied. I don't want to give them a broken idea that they can't go crazy with. When someone reads what I'm saying, I want them to absorb it. I want them to trust me as an authority on the subject that I'm speaking about. And I want them to basically go research more themselves. Because I always say, whatever you hear on social media, take it with a grain of salt. Don't take this as basically as a biblical verse, right? Don't take this as whatever it is. Take this as a spark for you to conduct and proceed with your own research. Same thing for you. Create a spark for someone to research more. Remember, if you provoke a thought, you will never leave a mind. So provoke those thoughts. Create these sparks. Let people get inspired because you're inspired. Let people feel passion because you're passionate. Even when I give talks like this, I'm not just talking, giving you words. I want to connect with my people, and I want to connect with all the viewers and listeners on a mental level. I want to share my idea with you. I want you to share your ideas with me. I'm willing, and I want to be, laughing, and I want to be, sharing my vulnerability. I want to fail. I want to succeed. I want to win. I don't want to lose with you. I want you to feel what I feel. And when I do that, you're going to gravitate towards what I'm talking about. If I do that effectively, then I know you're going to get something out of that. That is why I do this. So make sure, and that's my vision. So create your vision and keep it strong. Once you have your vision, don't allow anyone in the world to touch it besides you. Your vision is yours. And remember one thing. We are our own worst critics in the world. but we are also our own best coaches in the world. You have the ability to be hypercritical of whatever it is that you're doing, or you have the ability to pinpoint where you're weak and pivot and make it very useful for yourself to do new things with. It is completely up to you. Be critical, but be willing to pivot to where you need to be. Fail fast, fail forward, and learn. Fail fast, fail forward, and learn. When you learn, you're able to convey your message better and better. You will absolutely hit new levels. You will absolutely be able to do new things if you pivot quickly. But if you stick to something that's failing over and over and over, if you keep using the exact same ingredients, you keep using the exact same recipe, you're going to come out with the exact same food. There's just no other way around it, right? So this is the same thing here. If you're putting out the same message over and over and over, and you're getting 2 likes on a post, 3 likes on a post, no one's really engaging with it, you need to make a tweak. You need to change it. So for example, if my post says something like, I think React is the best framework out there, for whatever reason, and let's say only 3 people liked it, maybe I need to elaborate more. Maybe I'm not conveying my thought completely. Maybe, and let's go figure, like this is not something that's resonating with my audience. Maybe my audience are all Java people, so talking about React really isn't helping in this situation, right? So now if I tweak and say Java can accomplish everything, Java's on 1 million devices, and now I have 10 likes, oh, I just got, over 70% increase, I know I'm doing something right now. Now this is starting to resonate more. Let me figure out where this niche is that all my followers are at. Let me figure out where the potential for my entire market is. Let me proceed and go down this path, and now we're cooking. For my path, in March I had 300 followers. My preparation was showcasing my destination, and I kept tweeting things. Basically in March I said, I'm going to give this a real shot. April 1st I had 1,000 followers, and I kept pushing content out. I kept pushing posts out. I kept posting. And May I had 15,000 followers. I gained 14,000 followers that month. And I kept pushing content out. I kept growing. And then in June, I had 28,000 followers. And I kept pushing content out. I kept growing. And in 3 months, I had 30,000 followers. And just kept growing. Now, on average, I get, around 16 million views a month, give or take. And it just shows that when you keep your message concise, you keep doing it for the right reasons, and you keep going down the level of market that you have, you can absolutely produce the change that you want to see. You can produce the results that you want to see. You can produce something that you're going to be proud of, and it keeps you really consistent in the progress. Remember, consistent small wins is what we're after. We don't need an overnight success. We need constant repetition. We need constant enforcement. And don't let my metrics throw you off saying, oh, well, he gained 14,000 followers in a month. I'm gaining 5. This ain't for me. Don't worry about what I gained, what I didn't gain, or don't worry about what somebody else gains. Stop comparing yourself to other people on social media. Be you, because that's exactly what people are going to sign up for. They're not going to sign up because you look like me or you sound like me. They want you. There's so many imitations of the same people. Be you, and you will basically grab people. But if you try to imitate somebody else over and over and over, there's so many imitations out there. They don't grow. They don't do a lot. You'll gain a small section of people, and that's about it. I see people copy my tweets all the time. I see people steal my tweets all the time. They got 2,000-3,000 followers, and they don't really grow from there. You cannot grow if you are not the most authentic version of yourself. Because if you're going to be off-brand soda and people have Coca-Cola, they're still going to go to Coca-Cola whenever it's available. Same concept here. Don't be a watered-down version of somebody else. Be you, and I guarantee you're going to have people come out of their way to follow you. You're going to have people come out of their way to come see what it is that you're about. Engagement produces engagement. So if you're getting replies and comments on your post, make sure that you're replying to them. Thank them for, whatever it is that they're saying, or engage with them and keep that conversation going. Add value to the conversation, and that keeps people engaged with what, that it is that you're sharing. Now, one thing you need to understand about social media in particular, people will unfollow you for the smallest reasons possible. Do not sweat that. It is not a big deal. I can tell you every week I lose about 250 followers, give or take. And some of them are like those bot accounts that add, follow, whatever. But I mean, some of them are just regular accounts. When people follow you, they're following you for one thing. And when you deviate from that, they have no hesitation to unfollow you because they don't want to see that. So make sure you have an idea of what people are following you for and try to stay around that. And if you deviate, just know that there's a possibility and potential that people will unfollow. It's okay. But as long as you're staying true to who you are, then it's all worth it in the end of the day. Make sure that you understand some of the greatest things that you ever learn. Some of the greatest things you will ever experience in life will be due to failure. I said this at the beginning and I'll say it again. You will fail. Simple as that. And instead of avoiding it, just accept it. I guarantee you right now, you're going to fail at least 100 more times in life. Surprise, you're going to fail. So now that you know that, be willing and open to it. Fail, but learn from it. A failure is only a failure when you don't take anything back from it. And here's another thing about failing. Even when you're out with your friends, no great story starts with, oh man, I won the lottery a million times. No, it starts with, oh man, you won't believe what I went through. Those are the great stories. Those are the great lessons that we share with each other. Use those lessons, learn from those lessons, grow from those lessons. Even talk about them. Like you can talk about, oh, I did this and I failed. And people are going to engage with that. They're going to grow with that. They're going to say, oh, so-and-so failed because of this. Let me learn from that experience. That is going to be engagement that you can have, that you can thrive off of, and that you can grow with. Make sure when you're composing your messages, don't just look at it as, oh, this is something I did, so people should like that. Instead, look at it from, if I was just coming across this post, is this worth me actually stopping my scrolling on my timeline to see? Because remember, you're competing with other people in their timeline. So if one person's following 500 accounts, you're competing with potentially 500 tweets at the exact same time, trying to get their attention. Is your message really valuable enough for them to stop scrolling? Is your message really conveying something that will attract them? If it was me and it wasn't something that I posted, sometimes I'll look at my post and you know what? That's just me writing something to write something. That's not really conveying a message. That's not really conveying an idea. That's not even talking about something that's worthwhile that will produce more engagement. So make sure that whatever you're posting, you understand that you're competing with other people on that person's timeline. Make sure you're talking about something of value. As I always say, for me, I had a lot of doubts going into this space. I really questioned a lot of the things that it is that I was doing, that I was experiencing. Imposter syndrome is a major thing in my life that I fight with all the time. And I'm constantly saying, am I good enough to do this? Am I good enough to even be talking about this? Sometimes I feel crazy that people are listening to me because there's so much more value and education out there from high level individuals that have accomplished a lot. Like I go speak at all these companies. I'm like, why are they listening to someone like me? And I question myself saying, I don't know what it is that I bring to the table. So start dissecting what it is that people are looking at you for. What are they interested in you about? Dissect that. Figure it out for you, not just yourself, but your audience. Because once you know what it is about you that they like, you can dig deeper into that and make sure you're showcasing it in the best light possible. Those lights, basically that ability is going to bring you more people, more ideas, more fruition, more everything. And that is where the value is going to be. But if you just kind of, jump around here and there and you don't pinpoint what it is that people are enjoying the most about you, you're going to have a very hard time knocking it down, getting it where you want it to be, and making sure that you are leaving the impact that you want to leave. And for me, one of my goals is always to leave the viewer, leave the listener, and leave the reader with some idea of who I am. And my goal isn't for you just to remember me in that post, but it's to remember me afterwards. Provoking thoughts, provoking ideas, provoking emotion. Provoke something and let them reach onto it. and this will be the last idea. I fight with imposter syndrome a lot. I fight with, self-doubts a lot. Even when I was getting a job in tech, I was working in the gas station, I was frying chicken, and I kept telling myself when I was going to these interviews, like, God, I'm walking in here smelling like Popeye's chicken. And, they don't want someone like me, especially now. Like, why are they listening to me online? I'm a professional chicken fryer. Why are they following me? Why are they into this? What are they doing? What am I talking about? Especially in these interviews, like they're saying, they need a developer, they need a computer professional. They don't need someone that knows how to run a register. They don't need someone that talks about frying chicken. You smell like frying chicken. They see right through you. My thoughts, my doubts, my imposter syndrome, and all my doubters, I absolutely made it to what I wanted to be. I'm Danny Thompson. I'm a software engineer. I'm a community leader of the biggest developer group in my city. I have a massive following, amazing followers that want to help others the way I want to help others and keep that growing. We absolutely made it. I know that you will reach amazing levels, and I cannot wait to see where you land after this. Don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'm D Thompson Dev on all social media. I'm Danny Thompson on LinkedIn. And it was an absolute pleasure to be a part of this event. Tech by Joyce, thank you for having me. We have so much amazing talent in this world that just needs to showcase it. And I hope we help provoke a thought and complete an idea. And we engage to produce engagement. And we prepared to showcase our destination in an effective way. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in and checking out all of the amazing talks that we had so far for our demo day and our hack and learn. I just wanted to just pop in and let everyone know we will be taking a short break right now, and we'll be doing another mini networking session. So if you haven't already purchased your ticket through Eventbrite, please go ahead and do that so you can get access to our networking session. Another reminder is that we are still raising funds to help our minority-owned small businesses thrive online. So if you can follow the ticker below, you'll see that we have a link to allow you to donate to our fund, and those donations will help us continue supporting our minority-owned businesses come up with these technical solutions to make thriving online possible. So again, we've had a lot of amazing talks between our panels and learning about how to get our finances right and how to convey our message and make sure that we are telling the story we want our users to know about. I think we're having a really great time, and there's so much that we have learned already. Please go ahead and stay tuned for our next upcoming talk. It's more about branding and how you make your brand look good. So while we take this break, we want to make sure that you come back, and we have all of our amazing viewers here. So we will be back shortly. See you soon. And welcome back, everyone. We are getting ready to transition into our very last talk for the day. And it's by our designer who helped change the brand and change and create branding for all of our minority-owned businesses through our Hack and Learn. So we're very excited to have him speak about the importance of building a brand and using that as a way to get people interested in your own company. Isaac is an amazing designer, and he is one that I have worked with in the past and will continue to work with in the future. And if you are looking for a designer to work with, we highly recommend him. So before we jump into this talk, I just want to let everyone know that this will be our last talk for the day. So we will start to close out themes. And after this talk, we will be jumping into our very last networking session. I do want to remind people that while this event is coming to an end, Tech by Choice has a number of exciting events planned out for the rest of the year. Currently, we have our cybersecurity events that are happening thanks to Elevate Security. If you didn't know this, October is the month for cybersecurity awareness. And so we are put together a few workshops to help folks understand and learn what cybersecurity is and what role that they can play in this industry to help them land their next job in cybersecurity. So if you're interested in learning about cybersecurity, or maybe you want to join one of our future mental health events that are coming up, definitely check out our link tree. Once you go there, you'll be able to find all of our upcoming events, and you'll be able to register and join us. And if you want to find out about more events like this, make sure you become a Tech by Choice member today. We offer all of our members access to content like this and much more. And we make sure that all of the content that we share within our community for our members is free or very low cost. So again, thank you for joining, and we're going to go ahead and jump into our next talk.
Okay, good day, everyone. My name is Isaac Sisus Chizaram. I'm a visual designer. I'm also could call me Zara. Well, I'm super excited to share my insights today. I'm super excited to be invited, by Tech by Choice organization, to share about branding and how you can give businesses and products to be here tonight. Okay, before we start that, I will share my screen, then I'll tell a story. Okay, I hope you all are ready to hear the story. Okay, awesome. Yeah. Okay, we all know that, like, we all know that businesses, businesses and always strive uh, with what they see, like customers by what they see, and that is something that happens in like on our everyday life. You want to go out for work and you look through a boutique, then you see this fancy Gucci shirts. You are purchasing not the shirt because you are so enticed by the patterns, you are so enticed by the colors, you are so enticed by how the like embroider the logo and all those things. All those things are branding. Yeah, branding has branding plays a major role, customer base, and like I actually said, that people are actually committed to whatever drags their emotion, whatever piques their emotion. So literally, the people buy out of emotions. If I want, if I see this Nike, if I haven't bought it yet, and I want to buy it, I imagine how I will look like if I put on this Nike sneakers with a yellow t-shirt. Man, I'll feel so super cool. You see me going back to that Nike shop to get that sneakers, right? Because picture how it will look like if I wear that Nike sneakers and how cool I will be and how people you will actually see me to be cool. You know, branding is here. You know, it actually helps to when you can get here. So to me, I always say branding is you telling your stories with visuals in order to compel your customers, you know, to make purchase. Yeah. So let's dive in. Let's dive in right away. So currently I'll be if you guys know what branding is, but my own division of branding, like I will say, branding for me is a process of creating like a strong or positive perception of a company. It gives that awesome personality. And branding is not about your logo. Branding is just serves the customers well. All those are branding. How the reception is, you know, uh, response to customers. That's also branding. You know, branding is not just like what we see. Branding is what we do makes customers come back to buy. Okay, so like you said over here, branding is a process of creating a strong, positive perception of a company, its products or services in the customer's mind. Like I said, emotions by combining those elements, typography, those where those color palettes come in to make the marketing consistent, to make the marketing communications consistent. You making them consistent can help to build trust, and help to keep you besides or actually differentiate you from your competitor to have a well detailed and professional branding for your business. So, like you always say, like good design is good business. Like if you make reference to great brands that are thriving well, the likes of Amazon, Apple, Facebook. That's one thing I just found out that and that branding reflect on their promotions and campaigns, their marketing communications. That helps to give you this professional outfits, like telling people that yeah, this is what I do, this service I offer, and yeah, I'm well detailed, I'm well professional. Branding is something that gives businesses leverage over those that are slacking, over those that are lagging behind. Yeah, for example, I walk into like a shop, like a supermarket, and I want to get an orange juice. Like I'm very tasty. I love whenever I'm tasty, I always want to get one for myself. Yeah, I walk into the supermarket and I'm heading for to you know where I can pick up that orange juice. And I found out that there are two brands over there, like probably a different company, you attractive. So like the colors are just so popping. Like the orange color, just so popping, like so pulpy too. And I look at my right hand side and I see an orange juice too that is well designed, has a great packaging design, drag me, I just want to check out, wow, it was the like what are the ingredients they used to do this. Okay, probably the first orange juice might have like the great amount of nutrients I need, you know, like more than the second one I actually saw. But that me from getting that. Why? Because at that moment I won't be able to trust. Like I won't be able to trust, because you're not telling me that this orange juice is well preserved. This orange juice is being done with great water, like amount of water or some chemicals. So I need some kind of and some kind of information, like some procedures on how I can like, take this orange juice. Whether I have to shake it well, I have to take it when it's chill. You can't just bring out an orange juice and keep it like in the shelf without any proper branding. You will likely lose customers. You will likely lose customers. You won't have any buyer. Yeah, the like in business, what matters is the numbers. If you can hit the numbers straight, you're in business. So to be in business, you have to make sure you rack those numbers. And how to rack those numbers? Then when you keep everything consistent, your branding, your marketing to improve, and improve your customer base. Okay, so let's dive in. Let's dive into how branding gives business and product visibility. I hope you guys are just ready for this or something that's going to happen right now. So the first one we're talking about is, we all know that when you are professional, when you have a well explained detail about brand's mission, what services you offer, people are likely to come back and purchase from you. That will be comfortable to give you the hand and more, because they believe that you have this well approached design all over, even in your marketing communication. You must be a professional person and you must offer quality service. Yeah, I would likely go for an orange that has a well designed, has a well designed, I feel secure that, yeah, these oranges I'm taking in has some amount of chemicals. It has some way, like it has some kind of directions I can use, in order to, okay, for example, there are some, I know there's some religion that like some products, so it could be fluids. So those packaging design helps to communicate that better. And if you have all those things, you will likely lose those customers, because everything is all about the numbers. That's where you have to build trust by incorporating those designs, by incorporating a great identity. Because when you do that, people will be able to trust you with their hard-earned money. The second one will be recognition. Yeah, your branding always build recognition when you're always showing up, when you're always of like even those great services will be backed when you have a well detailed branding. Yeah, that can happen when you have a great logo, a memorable logo that able to stick. You know, yeah, like I actually said over here, your logo shouldn't be just memorable. Like you should give like the desired impression of your company. For example, Coca-Cola, like the Coca-Cola brand. The Coca-Cola brand actually made some kind of advertisement and promotions that if you have a meal right now, it's best served when you have a Coca-Cola, a chilled Coca-Cola. So whenever I have a hot meal, I grab some French fries. I would likely want to take like a bottle of Coke, because uh, I will feel all right. Like that feeling, have something cool running through your body. All those things all those things are branding. That have made the marketing Coca-Cola. You'll be all right when you have that meal. It is best served with a chilled Coca-Cola. So that's why the branding. Just imagine a Coca-Cola brand without a logo, like like no identity, no one can identify, because logo actually helps customers to identify. So that's where the recognition comes. Uh, a product. What I head for to look at is the logo. Yeah, because that's how I can actually buy, because when I see this product and then I'm be like, wow, okay, this is what I want to purchase. I'm getting this. Give me 5 of this. Give me 6 of this, because I'm seeing the logo product and it's quality, not quantity. Yeah, I will still buy. So like branding builds recognition. It helps to make you stick. It puts you out there, and then it helps to build your customer base. Makes people want to buy effortlessly. Okay. So the next one here, okay, yeah, like I say, the people will be loyal to whatever serves them well, and they will likely refer people to whatever serve them well, you know. So branding, like photography, your color palettes. Branding is the personality, how well you serve businesses, or it can be like business to business, business to consumers, how well you serve your customers. Let me just use that. Okay. And when you serve them well, they will likely refer you. That's how you build your customer base. And people will likely recognize you when you have that branding. For example, I'm always using stories. I go, how I actually had, I got this awesome boutique, and the brand may be Calvin Klein or something like related to the popular brands you all know, or Zara, you know. Then it has this long lasting fragrance, and then a friend be like, wow man, Zara, I love your. I can tell them, okay, this is Paris, or or Montoni, yeah, those brands name I mentioned. That is what they always want to look out for. So when I tell them Montoni, or like Maxi, same boutique to purchase that, they always want to look out for Montoni or Maxi. They always want to look at for their logos. Like I'm just trying to say, like recognize. So those logos now, those identities now will help them identify those products. And when they purchase that, yeah, the branding actually matters. And another way you can build your customer base is by putting like a solid it's marketing communication that can actually help like direct or funnel customers to purchase your products. For example, we all knew how on 12 launch event was, people pre-order. Why? Because we are all compared, we were emotionally attached by what they saw, the visuals actually made them order like like people pre-order like a lot in a short space of time. That's what branding does. It helps you build your customer base. So the next one we'll be talking about will be marketing. Branding improves marketing. Like what could be the identities those logo help to give like a professional outfit out there. You that, yeah, being consistent, and how you actually improve market is when you push the same thing, the same visuals all over, probably your social media, on your website, and other, like it could be emails. So when people likely see that, yeah, likely trust you. Most times when companies rebrand, they likely want to refer customers to their own identity. Like they do that slowly. They don't rush into that because they know that customers are actually confided in that old identity. So when they introduce them to branding, I actually know some brands that are branded from Taxify to boats. Yeah, from my experience, I was observing that the like Taxify, well, let's say boats, they didn't just rush into like a branding and then boats. Like uh through some email marketing, through some visual designs like posters. Yeah, trying to like communicate. Yeah, man, we have actually moved. We have changed our brand name from Taxify to Boats. They all put that on their social media, on Facebook. I saw that slowly they introduced customers into like the new identity and new brand name. That's what branding does, because it helps to improve marketing. Because but when you don't do that like appropriately, you find out that you lose like a certain amount of loyal customers. Yeah, so you like determine the right content to push out there, using those logos, using those marketing materials that has that have reference to the style guide, to the identity, to create all those information out there. Because those information out there will help them like purchase more, because everything is all about like showing up, showing up, showing up each time. For example, I want to get this iPhone 11, and I don't know, I need some kind of motivation. And I woke up, I open my, like, I see a marketing ad from Apple. Wow, I'll be like, man, it seems these guys are in my brain. I scroll past. Probably in the next few hours, I pick up my phone. I swipe through my feed. I see this being displayed. Oh, I'll be like, wow, man, this guy seems to be following me up and down. And all these things are very strategic. I don't know. I can't be talking about like this like the search engine optimization and all those parts. But branding has a way to compare people to buy. That's how you improve marketing. That's where you can build your customer base. So everything is like is related together. Okay. So the next one we'll be talking about I think I'm out of time. Okay. It's value. Branding builds business value. Yeah, an effective brand that communicates the essence of the perception that this product is better than that of the competitors. Yeah. So when you are able to communicate your products better, you are telling your customers, yeah, this is my product, and this is reasons why mine is way more better than his or hers, or than so like branding has probably I get a cell phone, like this is a cell phone, and it has no business logo, brand logo attached. I'll likely not want to get it because to me it might be refurbished or might be fake or might actually get spoiled. Like something that has like an identity, because I'll feel that I actually have a feeling that if anything goes wrong, I have someone to hold like accountable. That is why people always want to like get attached to any system that has appropriate branding or any business that has well defined business value, because yeah, it's actually perceived that like let's say like to be of higher quality, uh brands actually command higher prices. Yeah, so this actually has like 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 no logo, and this is one that has no logo is way cheaper than the one that has a logo. I will likely go for one that has a logo despite the price, because I feel that yeah, they're focused, they're professional, and if anything goes wrong, I have people to hold accountable. I have a company I will contact. That's how branding, and that is why you know you're able to make purchase some products that are way more higher than others. Why? Because you believe that this product serves quality over quantity. That is the value you're talking about, and that is why the serve. And that is why companies, great brands, always try to put that perception that yes, this our service or this our product is way more better than our competitors. Okay, so the next one I'll be talking about, about is purchase. Yeah, branding compels emotions. Yeah, or more purchase. Yeah, like people are actually attached to companies with brand than the ones that doesn't have. Like I just said, the orange juice. I went to supermarket. I want to get a great orange juice. I looked at one by my left. It has no branding, no package. And on the right hand side, I have this other product. It's well packaged. It has these great, awesome designs all over, very consistent with logos, and the identity is just well popping. I would likely go for the other one because I feel secured. You know, I'm being attracted by the amazing, and then there's a word description on how I can be able to take that product. Whether I have to take it out like when it's chill, stuff like that. It really helps, like to encourage purchase. So like for example, I always know that if I'm taking uh like a cold Coca-Cola whenever I'm done eating a pizza, I always feel good. I would likely want to get more Coca-Cola and put like and stock them in my fridge after I have a hot like like a hot meal or I always do that. Why? Because the brand, like that story, you have this story I've actually told that that actually connected with their brand. So like I actually said over here, like people are attached to companies with a brand than companies that doesn't have. Yeah, the people are actually attached to companies that have like a well-defined brand that doesn't have. And brands creates a bond with filled with good memories, and good times, and customers will likely not forget it. So whenever you treat your customers well, they have something to reflect, and whatever they reflect on is your designs. Whatever they reflect on is your branding. But and when they want to come back to make that purchase, they will likely go get that product. Why? Because that sticks. Yeah. So if I'm going to that supermarket to purchase that orange juice, yeah, I'm going back to purchase that orange juice, and I won't look back. Yeah, because yeah, it's something that is welcoming. I want to buy more. So like this is not like and this is not strategic. It does not happen. It happens as a result of how the business plays their role. You know, in improving that to increase your purchase. When you create great branding, when you always show up, that can actually help. Because and when that actually happens, you see that people get compelled to make purchase. Okay, branding creates user loyalty. This is yeah, I do have a friend that always love talking about Samsung versus Apple products, and he's always used to that. He always comparing. Yeah, that guy is a great loyalist to that brand, to the Samsung brand. Why? Because they must have served him well. He loves their products both in good times and bad times. That's what branding does. And that guy will likely not get any products, any access. So hope you can see how branding actually made that customer very loyal to her. So good branding will create customer loyalty, and loyal customers will continue to support you in good and bad times. And they always refer you. They always spread also spread the positive message to people out there to go purchase your products. Why? Because you always serve them well, you always show up, and they receive the quality which you actually gave them. That actually made them to trust you the more, that they are referring you. Let's say they are introducing you. This is not very, very strategic. Like, so just think, it's like it's emotion oriented. If you can just get this, I believe you'll be able to serve your customers well, and able to be visible out there. If you're selling the service, you're selling. Yeah, and thank you very much, and I hope you enjoyed this section, and hope hope you learned something today. I'm super glad. Wow, I'm super glad that we took out this time to listen to this. Thank you very much. So if you have any question, drop them. I will reply and answer them. Thank you very much.
Well, I just want to take a moment and say that we did it. We launched a hackathon to support minority-owned businesses and make sure that they felt good about moving online. But we also did a lot more than that, right, Ebony? We did a lot.
Yes, we did. Pull it off.
Yes. So we were able to work with We the Plug to help our businesses build out their business structure. We worked with the technical teams to make sure that their digital solution, they created digital solutions. And we even got to work with Isaac and create some amazing, strong branding that is unforgettable, which is the key thing that he just said about making a brand that stands out. And so this is our last talk and we're closing out. We're going to go hang out in Icebreakers and continue our networking that way and just have a good time. Again, thank you for tuning in. We know 2020 has been a wild ride, and being able to tune into anything is hard. So thank you.
Bye.
Bye.